Brother Robert Ditmore brought these in a few years ago, actually, and I thought, what in the world is this? What does this represent? And Brother Robert went on to tell me that each one of these little BBs represent 10,000 people, 10,000. And this little canister here represents all the soldiers, all the American soldiers that have died in really all the wars since the Civil War. Of course, the Civil War, there are more casualties in the American Civil War than all the other wars, but that's what that represents. That's all the soldiers, all the people who have died in the wars since the Civil War. That's what that represents. These BBs represent 10,000 babies. And if you notice in your bulletin, we have the figures there, 63.6 million innocent little babies have been murdered in their mother's womb. And when we think of the immensity of that, and we think of the soldiers that have died, and of course, if you've ever been or seen the graves in Normandy and where the rows of the crosses just go on and on and on, and yet the comparison is so stark. And I will tell you that God, He's interested in all of that. And we made a point in the bulletin that, Jesus said, "Take heed that you despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven." And you would have to say that there's many angry angels this morning. And of course, we live in the time of God's grace, His long-suffering, when God is silent. But there's going to come a time when that silence is broken. And the angels are coming. And people have no idea the trouble that they're in. And this country has no idea the trouble that we're in. But it's not just our country. There's countries all around the world that are in the same situation. But judgment day is coming. The day of the Lord shall so come as a thief in the night. But I think that's a good illustration of the magnitude of what we're talking about. Precious little babies. In the course of this service, in an hour and a half, 150 babies will be aborted. And it's something we should feel very strongly about. And of course, when we are in contact with young people who are in trouble, we should do everything that we can to help them. I remember when I was growing up, I had a distant cousin that came to stay with us. I was only about 12 or 13 years old. I didn't really understand. But she got pregnant out of wedlock. And my mommy brought her home to our house. And she grew up in a family where it must have been very, very difficult for her. But we need to reach out when people are in trouble, that we could be a help to them, and not to condemn them, but to be a help to them and a blessing to them, because I think that's what God would have us to do. And so, all right, well.